This is not Peppa Pig, dude. I'm not going to take advice from a cartoon dog.
How would she? Oh, yeah, that's how she would say that line.
And what's in Chilli's Cuppa? Is it maybe something a little bit stronger?
I think in Stumpfest, there's definitely something a little stronger.
Dad enters the room and Chilli's just like...
Guys, these are Joe questions.
And I'm the wrong Joe for those questions.
And he's the wrong Joe.
Damn it, they're piecing
We're
it together.
smuggling. Okay, black market. Love that.
You're watching convention coverage.
Going on. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. We have Melanie, we have David. Excellent to have some guests from very far away. My goodness.
I know.
We're trying to use the space. Yeah. It's our theatre training coming into...
Yes, Dave, our theatre training.
Theatre.
If you guys harnessed like your inner parent, or when you guys are practicing the roles for Chilli and Bandit, was that something that you naturally had, that parent energy? I know you said that you had kids already, but you know, you're so good at being a father, an animated father, you know.
I'm much better animated than in real life.
Yeah. So like, what were your biggest motivations, or like, you know, you were like, I fit into this role as, you know, as with these two little ones? I
drew a lot on my own mum. I don't have human children, just the cartoon pups. But I thought a lot about, she was a really wonderful mum, particularly when we were all really little. I come from a big family, so I thought a lot. I was like, how would she, oh yeah, that's how she would say that line. So that I did a lot of that in my prep.
Mine was more just because I was in that world at the time. It was very relatable, everything that was happening. So I think it was, I think Mel must have done a much better job at it as being the mum, because you had to like do it. I just had to turn off.
Thank you again for coming to see us.
What are the rules of Daddy Robot?
I think they're probably an ever-moving feast with whatever Dad wants to not have to do that day. That's my guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll figure it out for tomorrow, though.
What's in your cuppa? Because I need a cuppa.
What's in our...
Cuppa.
What's in
cup
your
of
cuppa?
tea.
Oh,
You
cup
say
of
I'm gonna
tea.
make a cuppa, yeah.
Yeah.
I personally, what do we drink?
I think you mean what's in Chilli's Cuppa. Is it maybe something a little bit stronger than...
Oh!
No, that was Stumpfest,
Look,
right?
I'm going to leave that up to your imaginations. I think in Stumpfest, there's definitely something a little stronger. We may have had a couple of something.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you guys given any consideration with your musical background to having Custard maybe write some songs and giving like a Bandit musical background, or maybe like in the future?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
So I can give you my name and information for royalty.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it'd be good to do that collaboration. But as Mel alluded to before, Joe, who sort of creates it, sort of comes up with, he's the sort of gatekeeper to the ideas. So who knows? Maybe it'll happen.
Awesome.
Be
Appreciate
nice.
it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What is the best thing you've learned from voicing your characters, Bandit and Chilli?
Chilli has so much good advice, but I think a couple of ones that I thought were really great was the show episode where Chilli's like, you have a little cry, you dust yourself off, and you get on with the show. I think that's fantastic advice. And then at the end of Sleepy Time, when she's represented as the sun and says, remember, I'll always be with you, even if you can't see me, because I love you. And I feel like everyone needs to hear that.
Yes.
That's very good. Bandit doesn't have any good lines. I do like, I'm not going to take advice from a cartoon dog.
Thank you.
Were there any particular line that you like often struggled with, like you were recording, you were like, let me try that again?
Yeah, all the time. In the one, what's the one where the dad's speaking French? What is it, Pavlova? Yeah. And Joe, who the director and the guy who sort of writes it, he can speak French really easily, and I could sense his frustration down the Zoom phone call as I just completely kept butchering it, and he was so patient. He was like, like phonetically doing it, and I just couldn't remember more than 3 syllables in a row. And he sort of dumbed it down, but that was. So what was your question?
Well,
That was something I found frustrating.
were there any particular lines you were like, oh?
Yeah,
like,
that was
it
one. All of that for me.
And
Did you have any, Mel?
No.
oh, you were just perfect. Every time.
Correct. No, so some of the ones that were taxing, though, is I think an asparagus. We were doing all of these different animals, and there was, I think we started with the sort of like lion dinosaur sounds, which was a rookie error. You start with the quiet ones. You start with like the chickens. So that was like a little vocally taxing, but other than that, we good. My French is great.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While you are recording your lines, are you aware of like when an episode has like a subtle message or an allegory in it? When you're recording that, are you aware of that, or is that something that like months later you finally see a work print and you go, oh, that's what that was? Or
I think the writing is really clear, and when we first get the episodes to read through before we do it, often I'll have a good idea about what like the underlying message is, but sometimes when you see it all put together with the animation and the music, then it becomes so much clearer and hits you so much harder. So even if I've known the message, when I see it, I'm like, I know what's happening, and I am crying. So yeah, there's often an aftershock.
Yeah, and often it's that thing. It's greater than the sum of its parts. Like when you're doing your little bit, and then they put it all together and animate it and mix it. It's just so impressive what they can do with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys, like, you were talking about, like, the NCIS board with the red string. That got me thinking, do you have any, like, specific favorite theories or, like, conspiracies that people have come up with about Bluey?
Ooh.
Once again, I don't think I'm on the internet.
No. Is there some conspiracy about what the parents really do for a job?
Yeah, there's one about how...
It's exactly what you think.
Yeah. There's one where Bandit digs up like expensive bones and Chilli uses her position at the airport to sell
Damn
them.
it, they're piecing
We're
it together.
smuggling.
They're
Okay, black
smuggling.
market. Love
and then
this.
that's how they can afford such a nice house.
And we would have got away with it too, if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Scooby-Doo, you got it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the episode, the sign, we see a flash forward where Bluey has a kid. Is that kid adopted, or is Bluey with someone?
You guys, these are Joe questions.
And I'm the wrong Joe for those questions.
And he's the wrong Joe. Oh, I don't think we could tell you that. We would need to sit down with Joe and have an in-depth discussion. But great thoughts.
Yes. And I'm clearly out of my depth.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
There are 2 episodes banned in the United States. How does that make you feel?
Controversial and sort of tough.
Well, do you miss that it's not you? I'm getting stuttery. Sorry.
It's all right.
Do you miss that you can't like really show it to everybody? Like you feel like you're being creativity?
Look, honestly, I didn't know they
cool.
were banned, so...
Yeah, but it's cool. It's not.
It's kind of cool. It's like, oh,
We're
Australia.
subversive.
Yep.
So controversial.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
How has the show affected your lives? Like after, per se, like do people like recognize you for your work, or how does that work?
I don't really get recognized, but we do get to travel around and meet you nice people, and that's certainly something that wasn't on the cards for me before this. So, I mean, that's a very pleasant change.
Absolutely. Getting to travel all over America and meet the people who love this show has been just spectacular. We love being here.
We love you all too. Thank you so much for all your
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you ever think from the beginning of the show that it would resonate with adults? Because to be perfectly honest, I've watched episodes without my kids in the room.
Come on, we all have. I've done that.
We all have. I think when I watched the pilot episode, I didn't know whether it would necessarily resonate with anyone else, but it resonated with me, and I fell in love with this family instantly. I was like, I want this, I want to do this so badly. So I personally, yes, but it was amazing watching how much it resonated with other adults.
What do you think, well, I think you already kind of answered it, what your most memorable episode was for filming?
Well, probably one of the most memorable was the first one, the pilot, which became The Weekend, I think. And that's when I first got a taste of the show. Like, this is not Peppa Pig, dude. This is like, got some other stuff in it that was really interesting, and it sort of didn't take itself too seriously, but it was not just a kid's show. It was something that I really enjoyed. So that's really memorable. And also doing the sign episode, the longer one that we did in 2 halves, and not knowing, we didn't know how it was going to end because we did the first bit and then waited a bit and did the second bit. So that was really exciting to be involved with that. So they're my 2 most memorable ones.
Yeah, I think the sign's in there as well for me because there's such a big arc for everyone in that story. And like Dave said, we only got half and then half a little later. So we had a cliffhanger, just like you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What was the most memorable thing working on Bluey?
Of all the things, the most memorable thing.
So you have a kid. Who's your favorite child?
All right. No, they are both my favorite. Honestly, they're so wonderful. Their work's incredible. The most memorable thing probably was doing the recordings. Like, we do them separately, so we don't meet anyone else except the director. And they're so much fun to put down, and there's so much play, and Joe lets us do a bit of improvising, and it's just a really fun time. So I guess that's been the core of the experience. What about you, Dave?
Well, like you said, Mel, it's hard to pick out just one particular one, but there's been some really sweet ones, and there's been some really surreal and weird ones when Joe gets us to do strange noises and things, and wants you to decide what a bin sounds like to talk and stuff like that. And I don't know, but like Mel said, doing the recordings it's so much fun. If you imagine just like being an idiot for an hour and a half with someone in the room, and then they cut it up and get all the good bits and make it sound good. So, and also coming here for these things has been pretty fantastical journey as well. I never thought that we'd be able to meet all you nice people. And it's you nice people who make the show so popular, because you all dig it and you get so much out of it. And we're lucky that you guys like it. So from me and Mel, I want to say thanks.
Thank you. What is the most relatable either scene or episode that you can relate to? Whether it's like a part of your life experiences.
I can remember being the child parts of Sleepy Time, where I can remember doing that thing where you're standing with a cup in front of your parent and like waking them up and freaking them out. And like just wanting them to there's that whole, I think that episode's particularly amazing, and it's my favorite episode because there's all the unseen labor that parents do at night so that their kids feel safe and loved is shown in such a beautiful way. And I think I've definitely been the kid part of that.
I probably relate a lot to the omelette episode. The patience that a parent has to show to, exist in this world, yes, which is sometimes frustrating, but for the greater good in the end. Thank you.
Well, with all the accolades and praise the show's been getting, even to the point where I think there was like a recent celebration in Australia for Bluey, and I think even Bandit got the Best Dad Award. He was like the first fictional character to win like the Best Dad Award, and I wanted to know where you guys' thoughts on all these accolades and such, and if you had like expected it or not.
No, I didn't. I thought it was going to be pretty low key to start with, like when we started it. And then it got on TV in Australia, and then everyone in Australia liked it. And now it's on TV in other parts of the world. So I'm surprised, and once again, feel pretty lucky to have any involvement in it.
I don't think you go into any project thinking it's going to have accolades for sure. But I do think the writing is quite astounding and transcendent. And I think Joe is a bit of a genius, and I think what he's created is something not only really beautiful and funny, but has messages without being didactic, and I think that's really incredible. So yeah, like Dave said, I just feel really lucky to be part of it.
Thank you.
What is your guys' like favorite scene from the show?
Oh, I love in Fancy Restaurant when Dad really takes one for the team and eats what Bingo has made from the fridge. That is true love, you guys. And then goes and has a vom in the backyard.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What were some of your favorite one-liners or recurring jokes throughout the show?
Well, I like the "Here's Dad," and Dad enters the room. So I like that whole, meta thing where Bandit's sort of giving himself stage direction. I think that's cool.
Love that. I particularly like in Hammer Barn when one of the gnomes gets broken and Mum says, "This is what happens when you're not happy with what you've got. Somebody's husband eventually gets it."
What's your favorite scene or bit that you did that was just ridiculous like that?
Sticky Gecko has a few of those moments.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, the door is right here. So yeah, loved how relatable that episode is for a lot of parents.
I like the when Dad announces himself walking in bit, like I said before. That's just simple and classic. And one of my favorite Chilli moments is when Dad does that. Dad enters the room and Chilli's just like...
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
What is your favorite line that both either Bluey or Bingo has said that you look back at it and you're like, that was really adorable, or I really love how they said that?
My favorite is, "Can we get the bill?"
I'll have to remember. I can't remember. What's your favorite?
My favorite, and it's part of the sentiment that happened, was the episode where Chilli is talking about how Bluey first started to walk.
Oh, yeah.
And how at the end, Bingo goes, "Well, maybe you saw something that you wanted," and it pans to Chilli.
I
and
love that one
that's
too.
beautiful.
I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, thank
That's
you so
good.
much for answering my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't answer.
I wanted to ask, what's your guys' favorite fake names? Like in the when the games, we have a fake name that you just go by for the whole episode.
Look, I do obviously really love Janet and Rita for the grannies. The grannies are my favorite. They're my favorite part of the whole show.
The grannies.
They're incredible, but I think they're in the Fancy Restaurant episode. Dad is something like Romeo McLovin, which I really like.
Romeo McFlourish.
McFlourish. That's a great name.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's my favorite.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
What were you guys' favorite culturally Australian thing from the show?
Well, I like the toilets are called dunnies. And because it's such a Brisbane-centric show, isn't it,
Such a
Mel?
Brisbane-centric show. I actually love the fruit bat episode because fruit bats are so Australian and particularly very Brisbane. And that, when I'm away as well, that one makes me a bit homesick.
And also the way the art direction and styling of the show is so uniquely Brisbane, isn't it? In the backgrounds and the locations and the architecture of the houses. So it's pretty amazing that something from one little city on the east coast of Australia could go to the world. It's amazing.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What is your, adult moment, little bit of content that kids maybe don't necessarily understand, but you sit there and go, I know that reference, and the adults are going to get that too, and they're going to enjoy this.
There's an obstacle course that I don't know if an American audience will get it as much. But when Chilli has been training Bluey to beat Dad. And she says, how fast are you going to run? And Bluey says, as fast as a greyhound. How fast can you run? As fast as a greyhound. So that's a Gallipoli reference, which is a famous Australian film where he says, how fast are you going to run? As fast as a leopard. It's a World War I movie. And Joe put it in. He's like, I'm working with all these like baby millennials and Gen Zs and no one's getting it and it's killing me.
I don't know.
Okay, I've got a second one that I love in tradies. So I'm taking yours. When they're doing the NCIS board, the chalkboard.
That's pretty good.
And then he says, and Jockey Milk can't drive his car. And yeah, that's another reference that I really like, if you guys get that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you could take one room or part of the healer house and transplant it into your own, what would you choose?
Yeah, the tree's pretty good in the
They
backyard.
do have an amazing house.
What's your
I'm going to take the bathroom.
The bathroom. I would take the stained glass window.
Oh,
Yeah, they're nice.
That's in the kids' room. Also, your costume's amazing.
thank you. I have a Laszlo around here somewhere.
Amazing. Yeah, stained glass window.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you could get any celebrity you want to come as a guest voice, who would you like to have on?
I get Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling and Bandit become best friends.
You know, he is a fan.
Huh?
He is a fan.
He is a fan, yeah.
Yeah,
But I want him on the show, and then me and him would be friends in real life.
it's a great plan. I love this for you. Look, I think anyone who's a super fan, that's who I want. I want people who are like really into it, they've got kids, they want to be a part of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would Bandit and Chilli dress up as if they were at a convention? It doesn't have to be just anime. It
yeah.
can be any. It could be any.
I reckon Bandit would dress up like Scooby-Doo.
I reckon Chilli's gonna go old school and Indiana Jones.
If you were in the Blueyverse, which breed would you be?
Maybe a little Staffy, but more likely a little Chihuahua, a little yappy Chihuahua.
Good answer.
Something big. Yeah. Or something with a nice coat, like a husky.
Yeah, or you could be a Saint Bernard. They've got that little thing
Saint
of.
Bernard, that's what people think when they see me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great question.
Thank you.
What is a good starting episode? Because I've actually been looking into.
Yeah, that's a good question. Takeaway? Yeah, that's a pretty solid entry point. Like Scott.
Oh, the grannies. The grannies is a good start.
Sleepy time.
Sleepy
That's a good
time's
call.
good.
All right, I am taking notes.
Excellent.
I reckon you could just about, start at any one. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, they're
Except the sign. Except the sign.
Don't
Leave
start
that
at the sign. Don't start at the end of sign.
All right.
Go to Disney Plus and click on season 1, episode 1, and just hit play.
All right. Good notes. Thanks.
Great idea, Joe.
How you guys got into voice acting? Like, what was the story there? What was your first gig? How did that happen?
This was my first gig, so I'd never really done it before. I'm from a music sort of background, doing gigs and bands and stuff. So I was just very lucky to get the opportunity to start on it and work with fantastic people like Melanie over there.
I started off doing stage, then screen and TV work, and then I was doing commercial voiceovers, and I happened to be putting a voiceover down in someone's studio, Dan Brum, who plays Stripe and does the sound for Bluey, and this was before the show had been made, and he said, "Oh, you've got a great voice. My brother's making this animation. It's already cast. Can we chuck down some vocals if there's any other characters?" And then at the 11th hour, one of the producing bodies, the voice they had was English sounding, and they wanted it to sound more Australian. And so they chucked my vocals in, and then they did their due diligence and auditioned for like 3 months, and then came back and went, "You were actually perfect all along." So that's how I started doing this animation.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
Give everybody a big round of applause.